Hey, Baruch Hashem. Welcome, everyone. There we go. Okay, tonight, first of all, Shiur is sponsored for Shalema, Rabbi Chaim Kanievski, and also Nishmat Yehuda Nisim. I think to get a really good, and also for Shalema for Chaim Yosef Ben Sim Apparel, Yehuda's Chana, Aspesha Gittel, and Tobit Cyril, Sarah, Bela. In order to get a good understanding of tonight's shiur, I think it's very kedai that we're going to look at the Yalkut Shimoni. Now, it's the paper with Nikudos, the second one with the black bar on top. I think it's very kedai that we look into that first, just to get a really good read on everything's good. On the idea, the concept here, and then we're going to go into it inside in the shiur, and we'll have a lot of notes from the Zohar and from Megale Matot. Beautiful stuff. It's going to be amazing. Okay. So, just a little bit of a 411, just to get to know where we're up to, what we're holding here. We talked a few weeks ago about this king who just wanted to save his very own self, a king that came from Midian to go help the Moab, and he really cared about himself in entirety. Okay, because of the Avera that they made the Jewish people do, the Bnei Israel, there's a pasuk that says, Nakom et Nikmat. Let's go and do the Nekama for Klal Yisrael, and then after that, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're going to go up to Shemayim. So let's see the Yalkut Shimoni on this, and then we're going to understand what's really flying here. Okay, so this is important. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor nekom nikmat. That's the beginning, the Dibur HaMatchil. And Vaydaber el Lashon Az. Whenever the pasuk says Vaydaber, you should know something harsh is coming. Shene'emar Vaydaber ha'am belokim Az. Harsh. So why? What's the problem? Why are you talking to Moshe Rabbeinu in Lashon Azut, in a harsh way? Lefi shelo micha b'shivto shel Shimon. Yalkut Shimoni writes, number one, you should have protested. When Shevet Shimon did the Avirah, you got blanked out. You didn't talk. You should have protested. Try to save them, something. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Uma im bizman she'amedu ko Yisrael mitzad echad b'shat ha'egel, when there was the Egel HaZahav, v'lo haya im mecha el shevet Levi bilvad, and there was only Shevet Levi with you. Amaratu mechita b'kol Yisrael. You even told me, forgive the Jewish people or erase me from your book. I don't want to be part of it. You did something. Achshav shekol Yisrael im mecha. Now it's the opposite. The whole Jewish nation is with you, seeing what Shevet Shimon is doing. V'lo amad, and you didn't get up. B'tzad echad el shifto shel Shimon lo hayita lecha limchot. You couldn't do anything. Alecha amar HaKatuv. That's why Mishlei says, hitrapita b'yom tzara tzara kochecha. Second thing, mida sheniya lama diber imo b'lashon az. So first of all, we're saying Kadosh Baruch Hu held Moshe accountable. Said you could have done something. You didn't even talk. You didn't protest. You didn't do anything. And then he tells him, this is now the second piece. Mida sheniya lama diber imo b'lashon az. Why are you talking to Moshe in a harsh tone? Shekadosh Baruch Hu mevakesh el bonan shel Yisrael. Hashem wanted to take revenge on the embarrassment that happened to the Jewish people. Miyad Midyan, the fikr Amul Moshe Nekom Nikmat. And after that, Asef al Amecha, then you'll die. And Moshe was very sad about this. Hitchil mifayes la'Kadosh Baruch Hu amitato, ve'eno mitpayes. Nothing comes over to the fact that he's being told, that's it, after this war you're done for. And he's upset about it. Amal lefanav, he tells to Hashem, Li re'ui mita, I deserve death. Shera'iti derachecha, I saw your ways, u'ma'asecha, and your actions, v'orchatecha, I did everything you said. In fact, the pasuk writes, and we all know this pasuk, Lo amut ki echyeh v'asaper ma'aseyah. That's Moshe Rabbeinu we're talking about. Why should I die, he says to Hashem. I was doing everything you said. I was recounting everything about Hashem. Meshivu HaKadosh Baruch Hu ve'omer lo, and Hashem answers back to him and says, Moshe, Ilu haim arukim yafim livnei adam kvar la'avotecha rishonim lo it'amti otam ta'am mavet. If it was so good to live, you don't think Abraham wanted to live to 1,000? Yitzchak should live to 1,000? Yaakov? You think it was all about that? Ela geniza yafalecha min hakol. It's good to get buried. Shene'emar yakar b'nei Hashem hamaveta l'chasidav. Pasuk. Yakar b'nei Hashem. It's beautiful in the eyes of Hashem. It's worthy. Hamavet al-Hasidav. Okay. Still not getting to Moshe's heart. He's all fidgeted. I'm about to die. What is this? And why are you attaching millions of war to me? What did I do here? Right? We're going to see all this. What does Hashem say? He tells him two things. V'adayin lo nitpayes ad shepiyeso HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shnei dvarim. Amar lo Moshe. You want to live a long time? Elef shanim. Lo Yeru Yisrael b'sonehem. Jews are not going to take down their enemies. V'lo tikavesh Midyan lefnehem. You're not going to capture the land of Midyan. Ooh, he said, okay, if that's the case, miyad nitpas Moshe. He accepted and Amar, today, tomorrow, I'm going to die at the end anyway. Take me now and let the Jewish people, if that's the thing that is holding it back, is the war with Midyan, and they should capture Midyan, it's worth it for them to go do it, even though the next thing after that is Moshe Rabbeinu passes away. So he says, go do it. Okay. And he gives a mashal. I'll explain it outside because I want to move on. And the mashal is a king, every time he wants to get upset on his son, and the mother would come and protect. Every time the king wants to, my son, you're going to be a king one day. You're an idiot. Let me teach you some lessons. Pulls out the belt, ready to whip the kid. And the mother comes there and spreads her hands and says, stop, don't touch my son. Please, there's a better way to learn. And protects him. Now, the queen dies. And everyone sees the king crying. And they go over to him and say, what do you mean you're crying? You can get any queen you want. What are you crying about this one? Oh, was she the most beautiful in the whole world? You stuck with this one? She died, yeah? He goes, no, I'm not crying about my wife. I'm crying about my son. Who's going to protect him now? Who's going to help him out? I'm going to get upset, and chas v'shalom, what could happen? And that's what happened in Shemayim after that happened, and Moshe Rabbeinu accepted. Okay, this is the background. Everything I just told you is the Yalkut Shimoni. Okay? With this, we're going to start the shiur. Now we're going to understand the questions of the shiur, and everything will make sense. Now that we have the background. Okay? Background was, we attached it to him, and he says, why me? What did I do? Why you want to kill me for? Oh, I could stay, I want to live longer. He goes, no, that's not the potential here. Okay. Let's see the shiur. Okay. Midrash Yalkut, we just read, Al Pasuk, Achar Te'asef Alamecha. You're going to be taken to your nation, meaning after you die. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Im Ata Rotzeh Lachyot Shanim Harbeh. You want to live a long life? Lo Yeru Yisrael Nekav Be'oveim. But Lo Tekavesh Midyan Lefneim. And then right away, Moshe said, Mutav. It's good to Tekavesh Midyan Lefneim. Let Midyan get captured, and let the Jewish people take revenge. Mapilah B'Soneim. Yesh Ledaktek, he says, the Zera Shimshon. Ma inyan Moshe im milchemet Midyan. What does one have to do with the other? The entire Yalkut Shimoni, and he has a question. What does the war have to do with him? Why him? And why the war? What's going on here? And by the way, we all know Pinchas was sent out to go kill. So what did Moshe do in this war? He's responsible. He didn't do anything. And he's not going to do anything. How do we understand this? That's his question. And he says, V'yei Shlomar, shekatvu makubalim. Right away, the Zera Shimshon goes into Kabbalah and says, I'll give you the answer. And he says a very important klal, and we're going to read the klal inside from where he gets the source in just a moment. What does he say? He says, every shekol melech osar, any king, any officer that we have to do revenge with, tzarich sheyeh lo eze chibur vekishur imota oma. Whoever is taking the revenge has to have some connection with that foreign entity. Pinchas, Shabami benot Putiel, he's a Midianite. Asa nekama Midian, he's going to do nekama with Midian. David comes from Moab. David comes from Ruth HaMoaviyah. He's going to make nekama with Moab. Yoshua, he's from one of the children of Yosef. So therefore, what's going to happen there? Right? Yosef, Shayam Zera Yosef Shenigadel Bevet Potifar. So he's also going to do a fight with Amalek, and we're going to attach Amalek to Mitzrayim in just a moment. So he's saying klal number one is, if you want to take revenge on fighting an outside nation, it has to be from someone from that place. Some kind of connection needs to be there. Once we understand this, everything's gonna fit beautiful. It's beautiful. So let's see. Yoshua, he was Zera Yosef Shenit Gadel Bevet Potifar, and V'haya Atid Liot Chatano Shel Sitra Achra. He's going to end up marrying Rachav. Now, in Kabbalah, they make a very clear distinction. They make a line and they say, this is the good Sitra, and this is the other Sitra. Rachav, until this point, this lady conducted a very interesting business. Either we're going to say she sold mezonot, she was a baker, or we're going to say she sold herself as mezonot. And if that's the case, she's called the Sitra Achra. Now, it happens to be, from her comes out 8 Nevi'im, Huldah, and a whole bunch of other people. It's unbelievable. So she saw something. Okay, we'll see the story real quick here, then we're going to do it inside. Look over here. She knows this. She knows we're going to be what happened? Yoshua that marries this person. Yoshua, he could fight the Amalek. Why? Watch this. So he does two things here. Amalek and Bil'am, Gematria, Mitzrayim. And he says, because in Mitzrayim, Bilam came as the spokesperson for Amalek. Bilam came into Mitzrayim. And Bilam told the Eitzah to Paro to do what? To go and destroy the Jewish people, throw them all into the water, the babies. Shalosha hayu be'ota etzah, like we said, there was Bilam, there was Eov, and there was Yitro. And Yitro ran away, he got blessed. Moshe Rabbeinu, we're going to see, gets a wife from there. And he ends up surviving and lives by the Beit HaMikdash. Eov, that stayed quiet over there, so he got punished with tzarot. But at the end of the day, that gives him tshuva, and he comes back. And Bilam was supposed to be killed, because he did that to Klal Yisrael. But who did he come with? He came for Amalek. Because as soon as it says we left Egypt, and it says that we had a war with Amalek, what does it say there? Vayavo Amalek. Where did they come from? Vayavo Amalek. When you say Vayavo, you're going to tell me a story here. Vayavo, they came from place A to place B. Torah doesn't write it. Torah says Vayavo. Where did they come from? Told me half a story. So it says that they went to Bilam to get advice. We're going to see the Zohar in a minute. And they talked with each other. And they made a whole calculation. Hey, you know Bilam? You and Balak and Amalek, we got something in common over here. Balak has the Lamed Kuf, like Amalek has the Lamed Kuf. And then we got the Bet for Bilam and Balak. And I got the Ayin going to Amalek and to Bilam. So he says, listen, we're connected here. Got a trifecta. We're going to work together here. So Bilam first was introduced with Amalek already. Where was this? That was in Mitzrayim. And if you take the name Amalek and Bilam, you make the gematria as 382, and Mitzrayim comes out to be 382. It's exact same gematria. Ki b'Mitzrayim ba Bilam bekoach Amalek niten eitzel leparo. Shelosha hayu beota eitzel. There were three guys. V'kan v'yavo Amalek mehechan ba amru zechron v'bracha. It's in Esther Rabbah. Sheba me'etzel Bilam harasha. And what about him? The Amalek who rosh klipot. He's the head of all this, and we're going to see what this means. It says by Bilam at the end, he was cursing everybody out, and he says, Reshit Goyim Amalek. The Roshet Tevot Rega. Reish Gimel Ayin. We're going to see all that in a minute. Okay, now, why is there a connection that I need to make between the people that we're going to have to attack and the attacker? Why is there a connection? Why do we need that? So, he's going to explain. And he's going to say the following. All the great, we're going to see this, let's do it inside. We have it on the paper. I gave it to you in that second pile of paper. Can you give me a set? From over there? Yeah, this. Give me a little bit. And then take for yourself another one. Okay, so if you take a look, right in the beginning, Yaakov Ruveni, he brings the Megalia Raza, one of the students of the Arizal, and they have a reprint. I just saw the reprint, a beautiful copy. The original one, can't really read it. It's impossible to read with today's copies. But right away on the first, where it says Mem Zayin, Ot Mem Zayin, he brings the Megalia Raza. Yesh l'hakshot lama sivei b'kadosh baruch hu et kol eila hasibot. Lama lo shalach Moshe. Sheyelech hu ba'atzmo. Go yourself and take care of it like you did Sichon and everyone else. Lo nimtza b'katuv shakadosh baruch hu amar leMoshe sheyishlach Pinchas. In fact, where does it say in the Torah, go Pinchas and do the nekama for me? Doesn't say that. He did it on his own. V'teida sheyesh b'sod gadol l'da'at lama Moshe shalach Yoshua l'milchama el Amalek. Why did Yoshua fight for Amalek? Moshe should have done it. And what would we do? We picked up Moshe's hands. Yoshua was fighting on the bottom. Moshe was fighting on top. What was going on here? So today we're going to learn that whatever happens upstairs happens down here. And Moshe really was fighting. He was taking care of it. He was fighting it in the Shemayim. We're going to see that Amalek comes with Kof Lamed, generals of armies. He comes to fight. Moshe Rabbeinu does what he has to do up on top. Yoshua does it on the bottom. Pinchas and Moshe, same exact story. Moshe fought from on top. Pinchas fought from the bottom. Why? We're going to see the secret behind it. When we're going to... Okay, we'll say this. Let's do it inside here. Nothing. V'gam b'melchemet Midyan, shalach l'Pinchas im sarei chayil. Doesn't say anywhere the shloach l'Pinchas. V'lachein al kol panim tzarech lomar sheyesh bo sadot neraot. There's big hidden things here. U'Moshe lamad elu hasadot kesha'alan l'marom. Moshe Rabbeinu learned the secret when he went up on top from Raziel HaMalach and Yofiel HaMalach. These two malachim taught Moshe Rabbeinu. AI wasn't off. When I searched for Megalia Raza, it kept telling me, look at Raziel HaMalach. Wanted me to find that, but I thought, oh, you're looking for Raziel, Sefer Raziel HaMalach. And I'm saying, no, I want the Megalia Raza. But it's going to tell us that Raziel HaMalach was involved here. Moshe Rabbeinu learned from these two malachim. Hadahu dechtiv. That's what the pasuk says in Tehillim. Alita lemarom shavita shivya. You took these two malachim. They told to Moshe, Anachnu nir'elecha be'eze ofan. In which way tuchal lakachat shevi, you could take captives v'sitra achra. I'm going to teach you how to win the wars against them. Ulvatel machshavato, and to break away his machshava that he had in mind. Kishiyavo al Yisrael lahafer berit itam, when they want to come to Israel to take away our covenant. Bilti reshut bedina ayon, teida bevada eseta acha yesh la reshut laasot chitunim min nukva dilei im givorim v'chasdim Israel. It could fight only others, but if it's their own, they're going to get stuck. Because in Shemayim, they're going to go to the Bedin and they're going to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you told us they got to get punished. I'm going there. They deserve it. But then comes one of their own. For example, let's say Pinchas, or let's say Yoshua, or anybody subsequently, someone from any country that we have a ger from today. They walk up to Bedin, their malach comes up and says, excuse me, what are you doing? I'm one of you. You have a zechut, you protected my neshama till now, or was I saved and came out from you now because you were there to destroy me? And with that, we're able to win. Because there's a halacha that talks about what if Aron HaKodesh was not good. You built it, everything got moldy inside. Or you had a protection for the tefillin, the bag, it didn't help. Does it still have kedusha? We learn out that if it didn't do its job to protect, it was never kaddish to begin with. So now you have to unravel this, and we're going to do the rest of it. We're going to see. But you have to understand this now. When you come to Shemayim to fight Moshe Rabbeinu, they didn't sin. There was nothing we could do about it. But when somebody from them, it might be Amalek's descendants, or Akiva's from Amalek's descendants. And he's going to say further, you're going to see the greatest tzaddikim. David HaMelech comes from Sodom. If anyone ever thought about it. Ammon and Moab, where they come from? Sodom and Amorah turned over. Lot was the last man. His daughters were the last females. They said, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. We really shouldn't be marrying our father, but there's no one else. They thought they're doing something good. David HaMelech comes from Moab. So they come from Sodom. You would Hayitachin, the author of Tehillim, is a great-great-grandson of Sodom. How does that happen? Elamai, to beat Moab, you have to have somebody that came from there. And so, in Nitzavim, at the end, the Zera Shimshon brings from other sources and says, this is the reason why, as Mashiach comes closer and closer, the neshamot that were hidden. Why were they hidden? I'm not going to have time to do all these notes. I'm going to tell you outside already. Why were they hidden? Because when Adam HaRishon made his sin, he took all the good and just pushed them away. The stronger the good, the farther they went. And every time we sin, we keep pushing that good further away. When it comes time for this neshama to come, we got a problem here. Do we look at the host, the nation that kept this neshama? Were they protecting the neshama, waiting for him to come out at the right time? Or were they a country that was looking to destroy all the good? And we were lucky we got this neshama out at this moment. If you're not kadosh, if you were not protecting, if you were not a kli kadosh, then we could kill you. Meaning, if there's reason, if you did something offensive, where the halachically, lawfully, we could wage war, you're not going to have protection anymore. Because you lost that status of being a protector for that neshama. How do you lose that status? When the neshama itself stands up against them. That is proof, he's saying, aka, had I stayed quiet and dormant, I would never have a chance to join Klal Yisrael. You would have annihilated me like the actions you're doing right now. Proof is in the pudding. Therefore, I stand up to you. Therefore, Pinchas stands up to do Nakom Nikmat. Question is Moshe or Hashem. Pasuk changes terms. That we'll do on Shabbat. Nakom Nikmat Hashem, Nakom Nikmat Moshe. Which one? Hashem says to do Nakama for Moshe. Moshe says we're doing Nakama for Hashem. Understand why? It's connected to this as well. But we'll do that on Shabbat. But the point here is now, we need to take someone from them. So Pinchas comes from Yitro, Midian. He could do the job. Yoshua comes from Yosef, was married to Osnat, Potiphar's daughter. And we just said that Bilam and Amalek were one in Mitzrayim. They were unified. So Yoshua could fight Amalek. Vayachalosh oto Yoshua with Moshe's yadav kevedim. But that was the connection. Moshe Rabbeinu is doing all his work in Shemayim. He's fighting the war from the top side of things. But the physical's got to be one from them. And as we get closer and closer to Mashiach, we're going to see more and more revelations. There was recently a podcast of a Lebanese Christian lady that's turning to be Orthodox after she saw what she saw. And she went to France. She was like an exchange student and saw from the Jewish people and has a whole different view from the supermarket that she went into. And the Jewish guy served her and said, "Oh, you forgot your stuff," and brought it to the house instead of the other way around, like it would be in their own countries if we were to end up there in one of their supermarkets. We wouldn't come out alive. Or like the head of the Emirates, Lu'ai, who said, "I love the Jewish people. We don't understand our own. The people that wrote the Quran didn't understand the Jews. We're all based on someone's mistake." That's the words he said, not mine. How does this happen? Because as we're getting closer and closer to the time of Mashiach, we're going to see exactly like what the Chachamim said. It's going to be through them. They're the only ones that are able to fight it out. They're going to speak for us. Hashem will do his war in Shemayim, and we'll do our part on the bottom here. And that happens. I said it once before. I'll say it again. The bombs that keep coming, raining down on us. How can they miss? You got precision computers in there, scientists. You paid them for 30 years to create these items. They're $10,000 to $20,000 for cheap ones, $100,000 the more expensive ones, and all of them miss. And if they get something, they didn't get the target they were intended. Very minimal casualties. What happened? So they interviewed somebody from Hamas. The guy said, I don't know, the God of the Jews is doing something in the heavens. He's shaking his hands left and right like this. We're sending them, and we got the right address. And he just pushes them around like it's a nothing, like we're swaying a fly from about to land to us. And at the end of the Zera Shimshon, he says, now that we answered all this, now that we understand why Hashem says, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're directly involved. Because if not for you to do your part and Pinchas to do his part, we can't make the Nekama because you also are involved with Midian. And really, Moshe Rabbeinu should have been part of this solution. That's the next Derush we're going to do on Shabbat. Moshe, I'll give us a sneak preview. Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to. He stayed quiet. He had Yitro's daughter. Directive of God. He was supposed to do both the physical and the spiritual war against Midian. For whatever reason, that's why the Torah changes the Lashon. Hashem says to Moshe, Hashem says to the Jewish people, you're going to do the Tzorot Midyanim, take revenge for Moshe. And Moshe Rabbeinu writes, no, we're going to take revenge for Hashem. Because Moshe Rabbeinu says, you can't really blame me. We wanted Pinchas to become a Kohen. It was, his turn. We had to let him do it. Obviously, from Shemaim, you wanted him. And you can't blame me either. They don't hate us because I have a big nose. They hate us because we took Torah, because I teach your Torah, Hashem. They are against us, not because me, Moshe Rabbeinu, didn't protest Shimon, didn't try to protect or to protest. It's not me. It's you. It's because of the Torah that they're against. So we're going to do a revenge for Hashem. That's why we switched to Lashon. I'm just going to give you the sneak peek. And with that, I'm going to end off with one last piece. Zera Shimshon wrote earlier, and he was talking about, and I heard some Bachar were learning here about promises and shvuas and neder. So just going to say, when a person does a neder, what's neder used for? I'll just start with the Hagdama. I don't know how much I'll do of it, but I'll just give you the concept. And that's how Eov gets into this mix. A person did Parshat Pinchas. Pinchas is all about korbanot, all the holidays. We're enjoying and feasting, and obviously we're going to be drinking. We're going to perhaps go excessive. So what did they do back then? The first thing they did was, like we do by the chuppahs, we take a thing, smash it. All of a sudden the guy feels so bad. He gets back. He says, okay, you know what? The alcohol could take me the whole wrong way. I gotta chill out a little bit. Because if you activate natural instinct, what alcohol does to the person, everyone knows. Okay. The next thing it says what a person does is he decides to make a neder. If I drink too much, I promise $10,000 to the synagogue. Now the guy is going to be extremely careful. I don't want to go past that. So the Torah says you're allowed to make such a neder, right? All the cases in the Gemara. I'm neder not to have bread, not to have this, have that. You're putting gedorim on yourself for that type of reason, not to chas v'shalom overstep the fence and maybe lose yourself. Then there is another type of neder. There's a neder that perhaps if I don't do this neder, I'm going to get too weak and I won't do the mitzvah. Either mitzvah or learning Torah. I'll just take learning Torah because that everyone agrees. If I say I'm going to learn tomorrow a parak of a chumash, let's say. Tomorrow comes and I'm going to look at the watch and I'm going to say, I really meant it, but I don't have time. Sayonara. The Gemara says you could make a neder. I'm making a neder, I'm going to learn this parsha, learn this parak. Why? You already made a neder by Har Sinai. You're going to do everything the Torah says. You can't be menader on a neder. The Gemara answers, Rav Gidel says, Daf Chet and Nedarim, because you want to give yourself a little pressure. In this world, giving pressure, we sometimes say, is not a good thing. Don't pressure me, don't. It's just the opposite. You're running away from something. The Gemara says you get a little pressure from the neder, and you're going to get up there and do your thing. And not only that, if you can't, and the other thing is pledging for tzedakah. If you can't stay away from it, they're making you do it, so you pledged. You should know that you're already, well, maybe not by money part, but by learning, if I make a neder, I'm already receiving the reward right now. So if I'm in a terrible situation, and I say, I'm going to learn an extra whatever it is, even if I didn't do the learning yet, I'm going to receive the benefit. I'll be saved. Baal Shem Tov did this, and others did this. They got caught, they got tied up, the Arab wants to burn him alive. He says, I forgot how to daven, I forgot to just say the olive base. Oh, you learned, even if you didn't do it yet, it's going to come protect you. When it comes to money, if you pledge and there was no other choice, as long as you mean to bring it, we're going to be happy. But you should know there's an avera that comes with it. When it comes to pledging, you have to do it right away, fulfill it. Otherwise, it comes with an avera of not lo ta'acher, not to hold it back. So just wanted to give everyone an idea here of neder. Neder is a good thing. It could give you a little bit of a pressure to get back into it. Wake up. I want to do Gemara. We really need to get started. Yes. Every day is another day late. But when you say, you know what, I made a neder, I'm going to do it. Oh, that adds a little bit of pressure, and you get the blessings of the Torah starting that moment, even though you didn't do it yet. When it comes to the pledging of tzedakah, it's good, but you have to fulfill it right away, otherwise it could switch on you. That's the lesson that we have with neder. And by the way, Eov, that we mentioned, and I'll tie it in with that, and we'll stop. Eov, that's exactly what the first parak of Eov is all about. It was the holidays, they all got drunk, he's afraid his kids overdrank and maybe did averot. He goes to bring a korban and try and appease and try to get out of the situation. That's literally what we're talking about here. And he felt that maybe because there was too much on the table, and maybe they did something like that. So we have to be very careful, and that's the 9 days. We stay away from wine, we stay away from the meat, we take a little bit back, and we say, Mam'itin b'simcha, unless it's for something that you're allowed to be sameach for, which is, like I said, the Torah. Torah protects you even now for future. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us the bracha that we should be able to learn Torah and have the Torah protect us, and only the Torah could protect us, and that's the way we're going to survive, and in America, and in Eretz Yisrael, and that's the way we'll see Mashiach Zakenu.